There's nothing there.
A true story, Call Me ZENA, is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and a grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me ZENA on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show. Well, we have quite a story here. Things have been happening in the studio, right? If you watch through the commercials, it just you know more about what happened, right? Something just stopped.
The stream stopped, just like the sound stopped, like the stream stopped.
And we heard that noise, so we're going to be very nice to the spirits in here
People
today.
are asking me if I did that on purpose. No, I didn't do it on purpose.
No, it happened. It
I
just
didn't do
happened.
it on purpose. It just stopped.
So I wonder if we should change the topic. Just greet them, say hello, and what would they like to talk about? Okay, so on with the show.
All right,
Please don't miss with us, okay? We're having a nice show, and we're talking very politely to the spirits, but they're responding
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think a lot of it has to be with maybe being disturbed about talking about it.
Well, they're not happy about it, I think. They're just going, well, they're not happy. They're just
I was hoping she wouldn't say that.
No, they're not happy because we're not actually acknowledging them the way that we should. They are here in our studio. We've just seen it happen. Something's going on. Okay, guys, we're here. We're all friendly. They're friendly, and we're friendly. So on with the show.
So on Friday, you and I attended a wonderful exhibit in Boynton Beach about the pharaohs and the 3,000-year reign of the pharaohs, and it was really an amazing exhibit, and with lots of great graphics and music. But did you pull anything out of the history of the pharaohs that might be have anything to do with what we're talking about today?
Not really, but what I did notice is that, which I've told you before, my very first, when I started sketching, I was drawing a lot of the signs and symbols of the people that we saw in the museum. Well, it wasn't quite a museum, it was in the studio there. So I recognized some of the things, yes. I'm going to have to stop, but I always talk, I need some water.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a chance to visit, it's at the PBS studio in Boynton Beach. Not to give them an unsolicited plug, but it's a wonderful exhibit about the pharaohs in Egypt.
And it goes back way into what we're actually, when I talked about, it's called the Lost Book of Enki, or the tablets. The stories of a lot of what we saw going way back when is on tablets. I don't know how, they had scribes, and they've been, everything has somewhere, the best of my knowledge, they've tried very hard to communicate their history to us in the present day. They've left, my goodness me, we don't have to go far. Look at pyramids. How in the world did they actually build those pyramids with even today, could we do that with the technology that we've got? I don't think so, the way that they were doing it. So people just walk around, and it's not their fault, and I'm not saying you have to believe in all this, but they do go around with their eyes closed quite a little bit. There is a lot of evidence that a lot of this exists.
Yeah, the first thing I said to you when they were showing the graphics of the pyramids being built was there's no way that they did this on their own without some extraterrestrial help.
And, today it is brought forward a lot, like the History Station on TV. I mentioned Gaia, that talks a lot about many different subjects, but the History Station, they talk about all this and the aliens and people that were here and the gods of that time. It's interesting for anybody that's listening and they're obviously interested in this type of topic. Just go ahead and look at more shows, because you get a lot of information out. There is a lot of information out there. So, okay, so here we go with...
We have a virus.
What?
this is very
Yeah.
strange.
This is nuts. I don't know what
So
he's
the
talking
show is not on there?
It's on.
It's on, we have a virus, apparently, in something.
I don't know what that means. I gotta find out.
I don't
You
know.
do this,
This
and
is
you
not-
answer the question.
We're having a very difficult day here today, and I honestly do believe, Steve, that it's the topic. Maybe we should change the topic. I don't know.
I don't know. But Sophia Rodriguez from Illinois says, I've been feeling an intense presence in my home, like someone is watching me. Is this a sign of something paranormal?
Well, it could possibly be, because we get energies from people, you know, and obviously if you're in tune with that and you feel that, then it possibly somebody, well, they watch us anyway. I mean, you're just she's feeling it a little more. Okay, so I would say yes, there's something there, and if if you feel good, it's friendly, hopefully, talk, as I had just said to Freddie, talk to the person, talk and see if you're not scared. A lot of people get scared because it is the unknown and we don't know what's actually going on. So my suggestion is, if you feel okay with it, have a chat with the person. There's probably an energy there.
So you're not only, an expert on this topic, but you're also a wonderful artist. And many of your early paintings, if you look deep into them, you would see figures that you might think were alien figures. Do you remember just drawing from your experiences and putting it on canvas, or they just showed up?
I'm sure that's what it is, because as I am on this show, I'm not 100% grounded, so I don't know necessarily what's going on around me. I'm aware of it, but I also was on the show, when I was painting. And some of the figures over the years, I didn't even realize what I was painting looked very much like when people come in, even when you first saw my artwork. It does look like aliens with the big eyes, which I actually hadn't made a point of looking on the internet at what aliens might look like. I hadn't done any of that. I was just suddenly drawing. But I was also drawing things from centuries ago. I was drawing streets. You saw that. I was drawing buildings. I was drawing faces. And then when I looked at people, places, and things, and then I would go into the internet, which I've often talked about on this show here, I didn't know what I was talking about, drawing about that time, but then I'd see the figures, because I had Aldo, who was able to, say to me, look this up. I would not have known what to look up. So I looked it up on the internet, and there was my artwork, very similar to what I've been drawing. In fact, I don't know, my viewers might know, there was someone he passed away, I think, about 10 years ago, Zachariah Sitchin, which explained a lot of what was going on when we formed Earth, so to speak. And I had not read his book, but there were drawings in his book. I didn't know who he was. My viewers might know that he talked about a lot of these things. And when I actually bought the book, I saw a lot of my drawings that he was explaining what had happened centuries and centuries, thousands of years ago. And he is very well known, Zachariah Sitchin, if anybody wants to look him up. It was amazing how he explained what we're actually talking about, how I had drawn a lot of those signs and symbols. So how do I explain it to myself? I can only say it's happened to me. How do I make people believe it? The good thing is I have artwork to show that I couldn't draw it and that I was drawing all these things. I know that. People that knew me knew that. So I have proof from people that knew me prior to this experience happening to me 20 years ago.
So Jackson Davis from Georgia says, I've been experiencing strange technology glitches and equipment malfunctions, which is an interesting topic for what's happening today. Could this be related to paranormal activity?
Okay, I'm going to ask Freddie this question, because you've had a lot of things happening just now in the studio, correct? I mean, it was happening in front of us.
Well, it's either people or things.
Oh, it could
It's
be.
like 50-50 on this.
Okay,
Right?
So, but it's.
I've never seen it all happen in one day.
That's what I was going to judge the noise that we.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Okay, but it's all sort of.
In the shutdown, I don't know what that is.
Okay, so.
What just happened right now, I do know what that is.
Oh, okay, but everything else that was happening was a little unexpected. And to hear you're reading that, I know that they play games with us. Whether it's been happening in the studio or not, we don't know.
Okay,
for
but I
sure.
got the biggest question then.
Okay.
When I asked you over the weekend what were we going to talk about today, you brought up this subject.
I did,
Why?
because maybe I got a message one night. and
Okay, so let's get to the bottom line.
Are we
as to
alone?
why?
Because I think now is the time to talk about, truthfully, anybody that's interested in this and wants to know more. Are we alone in this universe? Meaning, are there other people that are going to appear? Are there people, mainly aliens, that we are going to see because they're going to be in physicality actually standing here? They are around. I truly believe that we've been visited many times. But it's going to be much more out in the open. So I don't believe for one moment that we're alone in this universe, just us. No, we're not, in my world.
And does the reason that we're not alone, is there always a reason as to what they do why?
Well, they have an agenda, absolutely, as we would wanting to
They have
find
an
out.
agenda.
Yes, but they have an agenda. And I think I know some of it because our world is being very torn apart with, we can talk about nuclear weapons, we can talk about wars, we can talk about all the negatives that are going on. And I truly believe that the majority of aliens that are around us, that are watching us, that have come to Earth, are here to save us. They're not here to start wars. Now, there may be some that are, which I've heard actually people say too that there are, but the majority of them are here to save us. And many of the sightings, since we brought this up, are around nuclear sites. They've seen sightings, they've seen them because today we're able to see much more than we could see years ago. They passed it off as it's a balloon. Okay, it's a balloon. So there's hundreds of balloons up there that we don't know what they are. Why are they there in the first place anyway? No, we are not alone.
Okay, but thousands of years ago, these sightings were still here. The crop duster, all that stuff happened before the age of the nuclear.
Yeah, absolutely,
so
because they're trying to tell us that we're not alone. We've got to keep, there are many, in my belief system, and what I have heard other people also talking about, there are so many different planets out there. We're comparatively a new planet, Freddie. And they're trying, even with our technology, if you think about how far we've come, and I often say this, in the last, let's say, 50 years alone, let alone the iPhone that we can see, that we can take pictures of the way that we do. We don't know what we don't know, and I love that expression, we don't know, but we have so much yet to come to not even catch up because they're way beyond us. There are a few other newer planets, but we are new. We don't have the technology anywhere near what they have. But how are we catching up as much as we are in 50 years? Do you think Einstein knew a lot about this? Nikola Tesla knew about a lot of this. What did they do? As far as I know, if anybody knows different, correct me. They took, when he passed away, they went into where he lived and took all his things away from him, what he used to talk about. As far as I know, they went in and took it. These people have been visited, since we're talking about it, from outer space. I mean, even Leonardo da Vinci went away sometimes for many days and nights. Nobody knew where he was. People say they saw, even, I don't want to quote the Bible because there are religions, and I'm not knocking the Bible in any way, but a lot of the things, the Bible even, I believe, tries to explain that to you. I won't go into detail because I don't want to offend anybody, and I totally respect anybody, religion, or whatever it is. But there are many, many things, and many things if you want to read. I saw the Bible when I had Aldo living with me. We saw the whole thing on TV, and he pointed out many things to me that I wasn't aware that could have possibly been technology. I know from my world, I believe that it was, but I'm not here to change. I'm only here to give what I know.
So the life forms that you're speaking about might not necessarily be from our universe, but it could be from universes beyond our universe.
I'm glad he brought that up. Yes, absolutely. It's from out of other universes. I mean, if I say thousands out there, it's bad, you know, it's strange enough to say one, but there are many. I truly believe this, that everything that's happened to me, that I have been visited by these people, but not me, many, many people have. I have, because how did all this happen? Where am I getting all this knowledge? You know me, Steve, and you know me, Freddie. I don't go around all the time talking this way. But it comes to me, somebody's giving me this information. I'm not saying it's the aliens, it's spirits too, but they leave things that makes more sense than what they tell us we might be able to see here on Earth. Because if we don't see any of this, then we don't necessarily believe it. So they're leaving the crop signs. They're leaving things that are unexplainable. We can try to explain it all away, but there's always that doubt there. Where did that come from? And more people, their curiosity is getting the better of them, thank goodness, and they're trying to figure more of this out. How are we the way we are in 50 years with the technology? That's a good thought to leave with people, because look how far we've come. Really, I mean, we had a black and white, we didn't have TV. I don't know when TV came out, that could be
In the 50s.
but think about it, how have we advanced this way?
Well, I don't know if it's the entity's advancement or perception. I think that the perception of what we're going through right now has changed. I think that we're more open in talking about it. There were times, and my grandparents always talked about seeing things among themselves in Spanish. Not to us, because we would have thought they were a little bit kooky.
Right.
So people talking, asking, people like you will come forward and explain some of these things. That didn't happen either.
That's perfect that you brought that up, because this didn't just happen. It's just that people are becoming more and more aware and feeling more comfortable to talk about their experiences. We didn't have the internet. How long have we had the internet? I don't know, 20 years or whatever. So people can now express more. You can look, you just, hey Siri, well, AI now will tell you so much. It's there. So we're advancing rapidly right now. But so are the other planets. So people say, you could say, are we going to catch up to the other planets? But they're still advancing. It's an ongoing thing. So it's more acceptable today, so more people come out with these things. These things have been happening for thousands and thousands of years. I do believe way back when, way before we know even in history, that they talked about this openly. I mean, take the Indian reservations. They know a lot. I mean, there are people out there that this is what they do. You know, they talk, they understand. It hasn't become known, but more people are going actually to talk to the people that know more, that they understand, to find out more. Our curiosity is good. Our curiosity is good.
I think that the norm is one thing. I think the abnorm is like Steve. He hasn't had any side visions. He doesn't have these dreams like other people. I think that is now less than people telling you
It
that
is
they
because
do.
it's been brought out in the open. Steve's much more aware of
Well, he's
it
the
because
oddball. He's the oddball.
because it becomes that way. You can say, "Oh, you didn't see that."
I don't call you names.
I'm an oddball by trade, but it's just you're different
It's because it's
you
exposed.
don't have it happening to you.
Well, he's
Right.
seen certain things, but you know, it takes sometimes people longer for it. I'm not here to change anybody. I can't do that. I thought I could when I first had all these things happen to me, and that's a good example of you and I in a way. I wanted to tell everybody, and this is the way it was for me. It doesn't necessarily have to be the way for somebody else, and I totally get it. But more and more people's curiosity is coming because people like myself, or you can switch on many of these programs, and people are coming forward with all these things. So people's consciousness, I call it expanding. So they're seeing there's so much more in this 3 world that's going on that we don't see because we're in a 3-dimensional universe. However, this world is shifting to a 5D where we'll be able to see so much more. Everything is happening. And I love this subject because I talk about it's happening in the now, but there's so much to expand on with what our now is. Everything is happening all the time right now. And anybody that wants to call in, maybe next week, we don't have too much time now, or write as you read about how do we explain the now, because it's all happening. It's just on different levels. That's all it is. And more people are coming out with this. I didn't know I had this knowledge when even up to 25 years ago. This has all come out because I've done more research. I hear more. I see more. It makes more sense. So my mission in life, and it doesn't have to be somebody else's mission, is to expand on what has happened to me to people that want to hear. People that don't want to hear, that's fine. I can't waste my own energy on that. My energy is important for the people that want to understand it. It's not because I'm snobbish. It's nothing to do with that. It's because I need to pass information on to people that want to understand it. It takes a lot of energy. And if there are people out there that I can relate to this, go carefully. Make sure that you're not going crazy and talking to everybody, because that can come back to you, and that's not good either. You want positive feedback. If you get that positive feedback from people, then go ahead with your, whatever it is. And I'm on a tantrum here, and I'm going to stop.
It's okay. Here's a question that could be out of a Spielberg movie. Benjamin Taylor from Arizona says, I've been feeling a strong connection to a place I've never been before. Can you help me understand what that means and why I'm drawn to it?
Well, previous lives. Absolutely. The answer to that is previous lives, which I totally believe exist. And that's a good example of what we're talking about. When I say to people, because I don't want to offend someone and start talking about a previous life, people on this show, on my show listening, understand most of them. So I will always ask them, do you believe in a previous lifetime? If they say yes, and the majority of people that I speak to say yes, do. And this is a previous life explanation. I forgot the whole question now, but they saw people and things.
A strong connection to a place they've never been before.
Never know that they've been to, has not necessarily been in this lifetime, but and I think I was talking about that earlier, when you start describing what you've seen in that particular place, and then people will say, well, look that up on the internet, you will see if it's in history or if it's written down, everything that you described. There are kids coming in that talk to their parents. You weren't my daddy in my last life. Well, they don't say last life of their memory. They might say that. You weren't my daddy. You look different in this one. And they've proven that. Kids come out. Yeah, well, or mommy or whatever. You're not my mom, or whatever you want to say. But they look up. They'll talk about it. There's a kid that was apparently killed in a jet during the war. He explained the details of that. He gave the person's name that he was in that lifetime. A child of 4 or 5 is talking this way. How in the world can that not be real? So they were able to look up the person's name. Many situations like that. But they're coming more forward with these things today. And that's what's so important in our society today. To realize it, are we alone? Of course we're not alone. It's kind of talk about being snobbish. Oh, it's only us here? No, there's many people all over the place.
So now that you've gotten a message of people asking people that we're not alone, do you see strange things? Do people walk up to you and Steve and say, oh, by the way, I saw you on the show, I'm watching strange things. I see strange things. Can you tell me what they are?
Okay, if anybody came up to me, I would certainly do my best, because I
tell them what they are?
To tell them. It's actually better when I'm physically with someone. Yes, I can answer these questions and I can answer your questions, but we're energy, so I work very much with that energy. So I'm able to tell them, if they tell me they've seen a building, or some of the questions are great questions, and don't stop sending in questions. But if I'm actually with the person, I can feel that energy. I can take people back into previous lifetimes. In fact, I should talk more that I can do this. I will be here available in the studio, just, if anybody wants to.
Okay, so I'm going to give you one.
Okay.
So at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got up, I had to go to the bathroom. As I'm walking back to the bedroom, there's a woman. Now, this has a story. It's a woman with a black veil. I've seen this woman a lot of times in my life. Never good, always bad. And I walked through her to get to the room. Now, back in the old days, I would have walked around the apartment to avoid that entrance and go back to back. So she's physically, and I can feel it as I'm walking through her. a whole coldness right there.
Right.
Now, I never tell people this story because people think I'm nuts. What's it mean?
Well, there's a very logical, in my world, explanation to that,
Of course.
Freddie.
Of course.
And in your world too, because you've had a lot of these experiences. There was a spirit there. But that doesn't mean that you can't walk through a spirit, because I've astral projected. At first, I was scared because I thought my fan was going to cut my head off. But I went through the fan, through my roof, and went to many different places. It's the same with the spirit standing in your room. You were, because you had no fear now, that spirit you were always able to do that with. But your fear has gone as far as that goes. So you know now you can walk through the spirit.
I never said my fear was gone.
Well, enough that you were able to walk through the spirit. You still may have some fear, but the less fear you have, the more things are going to happen to you that are good, that are nice. Fear scares us away from this. I turned my fan off, and I was flying all over the place. The fan wasn't going to cut my head off.
So Abigail White from Ohio says she's been finding strange objects in her home that don't belong to her. Can you help me understand what's happening and who's responsible?
Okay, well, they're being put there by spirits can move. We can move things. You've heard of that when people say, well, I can move that and that, or whatever it is. Spirits can do that. So they are mischievous spirits. They're no different, a lot of them, to how we are here. If you like to play games with people and you like to put things that you hide them, they do the same thing. So obviously it has to be something what we would call out of this world. Suddenly things don't just move. Well, they can, but they're moving. So it's something different to what we know to experience. It can happen. Yeah, absolutely. It's something different. We shrug things off. Oh, I just saw that move or that bang, which we just heard. We try to explain the unexplainable, and we can't, because the more it happens, the more we realize something is going on. They're trying to wake, they call it waking up. They're trying to wake us up.
Okay. You buy that?
Well, how do you explain it? These things happen, have happened since time began. But how would you explain? All these questions are great questions, and thank you.
But these are
everybody.
people who have seen things.
But they feel comfortable enough now, they're not just giving their names, to go on my show to see what I would say. The explanation is it's the unknown coming here to this place where we are right now. It's coming alive, so to speak, because we're talking about it. These things happen to most people. You've got to be aware.
Except Steve.
Well, he's had things happen, yeah. And you have to be aware that it's happening. You had something happen not that long ago when we saw that light and
Yes.
the opening. So, but you've got to be, again, I'm not using you as an example, and I'm not saying that you are this way, but if you're open enough, it takes work. Anybody out there that's listening to my show has an interest. It doesn't just happen overnight. We think that, oh, suddenly we're going to hear it. I've been doing this for about 23 years now. Years ago, prior to that, I was doing it. I didn't understand it. But being aware of what I'm doing, I'm still learning every single day. It doesn't just suddenly happen. It doesn't.
Yep.
Well, it happened. I had a lot happen, but more and more things happen.
I think the instance that you were just referring to absolutely was I was drawing from your energy.
It's possible. I never thought of that. Yeah. We were seeing things. We saw them at the same time, right? We saw this opening. I know what I saw, so
Right.
obviously how would I know what you saw unless I described what I saw? It was a light, and it was getting more and more, and then we were suddenly out somewhere with blue. I see it right now.
Yeah.
We were traveling, and actually that can happen too. You can travel with somebody else. You can do that. All you have to do is ask. Aldo told me that if you want to go to a certain place, say, this is where I want to go to tonight. I was scared when I came back that I was getting, like my body was, it's known that you have a jerk when you come back. I didn't want that jerk. It scared me. So Aldo said to me, just say I don't want that jerk anymore. I've never had a jerk again. So they're listening. They're listening.
Until me.
Well, this is true, but that's another show, Steve.
I think we have time for one more.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Charlotte Harris in Michigan says, I've been experiencing strange, unexplained cold spots in my home. Can you help me figure out what's causing this?
Spirit? spirits there. That's a quick and easy answer. When I suddenly get cold, something you do, it means, and you, especially when you walk through a spirit, you even mentioned that, Freddie, that you felt that coldness. Right. There is a coldness, like your hair. My hair stands up. I call it goosebumps sometimes, because they're around us. Once they know that you're aware of them around us, that's the key. They will show up more and more and more. If you don't want to be, do not be scared, and you'll see and get many of these messages. Thank you, everybody. I think we've come to the end of our show. It was definitely a show for after Halloween, right?
Right.
We did it before and now after. I'll see you all next week. Thank you for listening.
You have been watching Call Me ZENA with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.